Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, maybe I take it back. Maybe it was a bad idea, after all, to kick the Associated Press out of the White House press room. And that's not to say because they didn't deserve it. This organization, which seems to pretend as if they're at the forefront of American journalism, is a complete dumpster fire, engaging in constant journalistic malpractice and bias and propaganda. So, you know, they did deserve to get removed, but maybe it was a bad idea because without garbage outlets like the AP, we wouldn't get these kinds of juicy clips. And boy, oh boy, do I live for these exact kind of juicy clips. Friends, Caroline Levitt is at it again. The White House press room was set ablaze earlier today as an absolute clown fake news journalist from the AP asked one of the dumbest and most condescending questions to Caroline Levitt, and holy frickin' moly did she spike that volleyball so fast right back in his frickin' face. This was a glorious moment, and honestly I've been preparing to make a video surrounding these kinds of topics anyways over the last couple of days, so I guess it's the perfect platform to stand on. Let me show you guys this Caroline Levitt clip, then of course let's talk about the topic. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I laid out the context, now here's the clip in question. Take a look.
When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs.
Not true.
And I'm curious
He's not doing
why
that.
he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, and the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
That's
they
it.
don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press.
Oh, these smug, out-of-touch hacks in the media never learn, do they? The Associated Press, I guess, was allowed back into the White House press room, and what do with their first shot at redemption? They send yet another hack, one of their finest little leftoid brainlets, to attack Caroline Levitt or attack the Trump administration and their tariff policy, and boy, oh boy, did it not end well. I mean, you would think that at this point they'd learn how to disguise their bad faith arguments, but when you're infected with the woke mind virus, when you have Trump derangement syndrome, let's just say the symptoms are pretty easy to identify. And so this Associated Press clown walks in full mask off, trying to push this absurd talking point that Trump is somehow pro-tax because he's putting tariffs on foreign imports. What an absolutely pathetic question. It's not even really a question, more like an assertion. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? A tariff on a foreign import is not a tax on Americans. It's a tax on foreign companies. And that's literally the whole point. It's designed to level the playing field, to stop American workers from being undercut by cheap foreign labor. And of course, most important part, and this is the part that's going to take a little bit of time to implement, the whole purpose is to incentivize domestic production. Folks, this is basic economics, and I'm tired of being lectured to from these pompous, arrogant, fake know-it-alls who pretend as if we're dumb and we know nothing, and just continue to run with these ridiculous doom and gloom narratives. The whole point of a tariff is not to tax people, it's to create more good American-paying jobs. It's to allow American companies to be able to produce goods and then sell them domestically, which is actually a good thing. But clearly these people would rather watch American manufacturing die while working class jobs get outsourced to China. I guess they'd rather that than ever give Donald Trump a fair shake. But this unfounded, condescending, self-righteous tone, it's just so incredibly cringe. Did you guys catch that part where he said, "Have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have." Well, I guess that makes you the expert on everything now, right? Everything economic. This guy's the expert on tariffs and its macroeconomic impacts because he paid a tariff once. Oh, shut up. What an absolute insufferable, arrogant statement. First off, this guy clearly doesn't even know what a tariff is, considering he's describing it as a tax on American consumers. It's not. And the only reason he paid a tariff is probably because he chose to buy or import foreign goods instead of American-made products. Again, that's literally the point. to encourage people to buy domestic, which supports American jobs and, ding ding ding, keeps money flowing within the US instead of bleeding it out to China and other foreign competitors. No wonder the AP was booted from the White House press room. They don't report the news. No, rather, they manufacture anti-Trump propaganda and frame everything through this ridiculous, hyper-partisan lens. It's so obvious that they'll twist themselves into knots to find anything, literally anything, to attack Donald Trump with, even if it makes no frickin' sense. Instead of asking good questions, they're obviously so desperate and so pathetically and pathologically eager to prove this administration wrong at every point and turn. And nearly every single time, near unanimously, they embarrass themselves for everybody to see. Just stop with the bad faith journalism. It's really not that much to ask for. Just give this administration a fair shake. Scott Jennings was actually alluding to this earlier on CNN this morning.
Let me ask you a question. You've been around a long time.
Yeah.
Would you judge a presidency based on 1 day or 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
You would judge
you
a whole
gave me
presidency?
a choice. You gave me a choice.
Yeah, I'm asking. Would you judge a presidency on 1 day in the markets or a 6-week period after having just taken over?
I wouldn't. But if he's someone who said, as soon as I take office, what you're going to see is prices lower and growth, and the economy is going to be great, then you can hold them to the 6 weeks and say, no. That's what's happened is the opposite of what you promised when you're on the campaign trail.
So in 6 months from today, if it looks like we do have an upswing in manufacturing and it looks like the structural changes are benefiting people, will you come back and say, Lord have mercy, it looks like he was right?
I will.
It's never, I think, a smart idea to analyze the health of an economy or the long-term possibilities of an economy based on 1 day in the stock market. That having been said, I think what the president has said is true. He's trying to make major structural changes in the way our economy works. We've turned off the supply of free money coming out of COVID. That combined with these tariffs, which is supposed to bring more onshoring of American manufacturing jobs, it is a long-term structural play, and obviously there are going to be some bumps in the road.
And that's exactly right. The doom and gloom has already started, but we haven't even had enough time for the policies to mature. Tariffs don't work. It's going to cause absolute crisis across the globe. The markets are tanking. The sky is falling. First of all, the policy hasn't even really been implemented yet. And secondly, it's been weeks. We're not even at the second month, are we? No, we're not. It's been like a month and a half. Give it some time and give this administration a fair chance to be able to actually implement their policies, just as you would have if it were Democrats doing this. And that's an important thing because Democrats in the past have signaled support for these kinds of policies. They used to actually represent and advocate for the working class. And so that if this was Joe Biden's policy proposal, if he was talking about tariffing foreign goods and bringing domestic production at home, they would all be going on and on about how genius tariffs are and tariffs work and, oh, this is Bidenomics at play. Not only would they give it a fair shake, but they'd probably even run cover for it if it ended up not working. But when Donald Trump does it, before the implementation, before there's a chance for any of it to mature, it's already a disaster. There's already a negative spin. We're already getting the leftist debunks. Just shut up, seriously, and let the maestro do his work. And likely, what do you think's going to happen in a few months? Maybe a year or so? Just like last time, American jobs will start to boom. Factories will likely reopen. Billions of dollars of new investment will flood into the country, as is already happening with companies like Intel, TSMC, Micron, multiple automakers. We also even saw a huge investment from Apple coming back into the country. And I had another headline that I saved. Let me just find it really quick. Oh yeah, look at this.
This plant behind me is producing switchboards. So if you want to electrify a data center, you need switchboards. And this is a huge demand. This is a very new plant. So we have another plant in Grand Prairie. This one in Fort Worth is a brand new one. Along with Bonoma, we invested almost $300 million. This will create 900 new jobs. These are new capacities which we are building up to serve the demand of our customers, which is increasing, as you can imagine, because data centers are mushrooming because of AI technology, needs all that compute, and we are taking care that they can go up and running.
As you know, the big word of the day here is tariffs, and President Trump has threatened very seriously to slap 25% tariffs on all European goods coming into the United States. He calls them
Yes.
reciprocal tariffs. Does your build out here in the United States help you dodge some of that or mitigate some of the pain from that?
Yeah, it does, definitively. And I can understand the logic, which is all fair, having a level playing field, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, creating jobs. That's good.
I know Americans appreciate the jobs that you are creating in both Fort Worth and Pomona, California.
Major German company Siemens, a German multinational technology conglomerate, announces a $10 billion investment in the United States, moving production in the United States, creating American jobs. I'm telling you, all these so-called experts that are painting this doom and gloom image, give it a little bit of time, they're going to end up looking like utter fools. But that's not to suggest that they don't already look like fools, because that Associated Press journalist, boy oh boy, is there any better way to describe his behavior? Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.